There's lots of media going here. We're live streaming this, I know.
Say hello
on the live stream. So for all the entrepreneurs pitching, we forgot to tell you that. So you might have investors on the live stream. Who knows? We are also recording an episode here from Sioux Falls' newest podcast yet to launch called Sioux Falls Startup Stories from Josh. So they'll be recording here to come. So welcome everyone. My name is John Meyer. I'm the CEO, co-founder of Lemonly, and one of the handful of organizers of Startup Weekend. This is the 4th Sioux Falls Startup Weekend that we've done. We did it in 2013 here at what was then SDTBC, which is now Zeal, twice downtown at Raven, and then we're back here in 2017 for the 4th year. We've probably launched over 20 companies here at Sioux Falls Startup Weekend. That launched, I'll say, in a weekend. They're not still operating, but had over 150 people participate over those 4 years. And we're excited for you to meet the 6 companies that are pitching tonight. So I just wanted to say welcome. I'm going to say a few other words in a little bit, but for now, I want to introduce the head honcho for the weekend. He's been great. A friend of mine used to be involved in the entrepreneurial community here in Sioux Falls and now is out in Hill City. This is his 11th startup weekend. So give it up, everyone, for our facilitator, Brian Rupert.
Thank you, John. So, welcome to our final presentations for Startup Weekend Sioux Falls, or Sioux Falls Startup Weekend. For those of you who haven't been here all weekend enduring my horrible humor, my name's Brian Rupert. Almost everyone calls me Rupert, even my wife, which is totally weird. I live in Hill City, which if you don't know is in the Black Hills, like 10 minutes from Mount Rushmore. That's my house, like a week ago. And I am, as John said, the Techstars facilitator for this weekend. I've been here to help support all of you as entrepreneurs and organizers. So, we're going to kick things off by introducing our judges. And I will let the judges introduce themselves. So we have 6 judges, which will be giving feedback on all of our pitches tonight. So we can start over here. Did you guys sit in order? That would have been awesome. Yeah, pretty cool.
Hi everybody, I'm Scott Stern. I'm the Commissioner of the Governor's Office of Economic Development. Originally native of Fremont, South Dakota, and now back here in Sioux Falls after spending a short period of time in Arizona working for an energy company. So good luck to you all.
Hi everyone, I'm Carla Santi. I'm the CEO and founder of Blend Interactive. We're a web design development company here in Sioux Falls and have been in the tech community for almost 13 years. So I'm excited to see what you have in store for you today.
Matt Paulson, Chair of Falls Angel Fund. Sioux Falls is the only angel fund, and also the founder of marketbeat.com.
Hey everybody, my name is John Peterson. I'm the CEO of Midco, and hopefully we provide the internet to help get a lot of you started.
My name is Pat Kelly. I'm one of the vascular surgeons in South Dakota. I started up a little startup at Sanford called Sanford Vascular Innovations. I'd like to think outside the box. I'm excited to see how much you guys are outside your box.
Eric Weiser, Sioux Falls, born and raised, but I'm in the tech startup club in T, South Dakota. We sell automotive supplies on Amazon, Walmart, eBay, places like that.
Awesome, thank you so much. Let's give a big round of applause. And if you haven't already, now would be the time to bribe them. All right, and super importantly, let's talk about our sponsors, because without them this weekend, none of this could have happened. So I'm going to have John come talk about them.
All right, yes, Brian's right. We had so many great sponsors make this possible. First, our gold sponsor, to Matt and Eric, the co-chairs. Is that the right title? Or just your Matt, and I don't know about Eric. Of the Falls Angel Fund. So we're really excited at the end of this, the winning team will get to actually sit down with Matt or possibly Tim or Tom from the Falls Angel Fund to arrange a meeting to see either if they're ready to pitch or what would be the things that you guys need to do to get ready to pitch. So thanks to Matt and his team. Give a round of applause for our gold sponsor. Matt's doing a lot of great stuff for the Sioux Falls entrepreneur community. You can join the Facebook page that he started. He's a co-organizer with me at 1 Million Cups. We can go next. Yes, John, thank you to Midco. As you've seen, we have all the little passwords around here. Midco powers all the internet here, and we were using it hard this weekend. We had over 45 people on multiple devices, laptops, tablets. I streamed the Jackrabbits game here yesterday, and everything was working really great. No problems at all. So thank you to Midco for being a great partner here in the community of Sioux Falls and the region. Give it up for Midco. Docutap was our bronze sponsor and a great, awesome testimonial right here from Zeal. So Eric started it way back right here in this space and then had to move across the street when they got too big and then downtown. So for the entrepreneurs here tonight, we're hoping one of you, or maybe all of you, become the next Docutap. 400 employees and a big acquisition. That'd be great. So thanks Docutap for their support. Let's hear it up for them. And then to Zeal, they let us be here for free all weekend, and we wore it out pretty hard. We were here, maybe smells a little bit still. People were working from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Saturday. They were here till 11 p.m. Friday, and so they've been working really hard, and they've been, Wendy, Thad, is Ryan here? I don't know if Ryan's still here in the hallway. Thanks to everyone and the Zeal team, so let's give it up for them as well. Very important slide, our beer sponsor. If you grabbed one, thank you, Ferguson. You could grab one, and if not, what's going to happen, just so you know, after we go through these 6 pitches, we're going to sequester the judges so they can't get any bribes. We're going to take them away. We're going to deliberate and talk about and choose our winners. But you guys then also get to choose the what's it called? The People's Choice. So you can go out into that area. All the 6 teams will have an area where you can put up a sticky note. Everybody in the room can vote. You can put up a sticky note of the People's Choice, and at that time you can drink more Fernson and have fun. So thanks to Fernson. We'll go next. A couple local sponsors that helped make this weekend possible. Jason Ball, thank you. On Friday night, he had our food. We had pizza from Sioux Falls Chamber. Interstates today had lunch today. We had subs from Interstates. And participants, we hadn't said this yet, but First National Bank, with the help of Will for organizing this, they bought maybe 80 or so books. And so all the organizers, when you leave today, you can get 2 business or entrepreneurship books. What? Attendees, sorry, not organizers. Attendees. You get one of either Will's book, Wired for Coding. The other one's what? Wolves, Sheeps, and Sheepdogs. And then just grab another one of the business or entrepreneurial books of your liking. So all the attendees, there's 2 books thanks to First National Bank. Let's give it up for this slide. Last one, I promise. Last one. A lot of work goes into this. We've been planning this for the last couple of months, getting registrations, planning all the meals, organizing the judges, getting Brian here. So I'm going to have the organizers stand up. We have Wendy from Zeal. Where's Christina? Christina's been my partner in crime for all 4 of these, so thank you from Christina from ClickBrain. Keep standing. Andy from Fire Brothers Fireworks. Thanks for being here, Andy. And also Devin in the back. Devin Miller and myself from Lemonly. So that we've all made this event possible, and thank you guys for showing up. This is such a validation for this event, so thank you. That's all I'm going to say on the
Awesome. Thank you so much, sponsors. It's hugely important, and those organizers. It takes a lot of work to put one of these events on. I've done it 3.5 times, so I know what they've gone through. So now let's kind of start getting into the business, all right? So for those of you who are new, the teams have been working all weekend based on a set of judging criteria for these pitches, and the judges will be judging based on this judging criteria. So that is validation. Do customers have this problem and want it solved? Execution and design. Do they have an MVP or a fully functional product? Business model. Can they make money? Kind of important stuff, right? All right, now we're going to get into it. It's time to pitch. This is our pitch order. So if we can get Conference Meow to come up here, that would be awesome. So when I was driving out here, I left my house and I took my wife's car, so I wasn't super prepared. And it had like half a tank of gas, and it has the, how many miles till empty, and they're already ready, so never mind. I almost ran out of gas. I got my wife's car to 0 miles to empty because the 1880 town gas station is closed for non-tourist season. Murdo saved me. All right, Em.
I appreciate you killing time for us, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Andy has your timer, so that's where you be. You got 5 minutes.
5 minutes. I'm gonna give you a 1 minute marker when it gets done.
Okay. And I forgot something. Can I have this? I get to take the mic.
Okay. So since I hold my hand like this, they can't hear me. But here's what we're gonna do. Just like all these other events, it takes a lot of courage to come up here and pitch. So let's give these guys our energy by standing up and giving them the greatest standing ovation ever to fire them up.
All right, let's hear it for Conference Meow.
Thank you. And that's the type of energy we need. We are Conference Meow. My name is Bonnie Herrera. I'm one of the co-founders of Conference Meow. And I'm sure you want to hear a lot about it, but we want to make sure that we get started by showing you this quick PSA.
So damn funny. Do it like a kid. Come on, good. No bugs now. That's a lot.
Larry could have been using Conference Meow and avoided that whole dangerous situation and expensive encounter.
Hello, this is Conference Meow. Your Conference Meow meeting title, 2017 Sioux Falls Startup Weekend is starting now.
Yes. So as you can see, that dangerous scenario is happening every day with the millions of conference call users that are either traveling, sitting at their desk, or at home, having to deal with the cumbersome process of dialing in their code, their password, and a bunch of other numbers in order for them to get on conference calls on time. We help solve that problem by creating a solution that allows your system to call you. So it calls you a minute before the conference call. All you need to do is engage the call, and you are on the conference call without having to deal with any of those pesky numbers or anything along those lines. The great thing about it is that it also works with every system. Because Conference Meow actually links with your calendar and the actual request, you're able to use any platform, whether it's sent by yourself or the organizer, for you to be able to use this service to make it far easier and safer for you to be able to do this. Now, our customer acquisition proposition is pretty clear, because we're going for the pick of the litter. The first thing that we're going to be doing initially is going to organic social media. And part of that is through our viral process, because most people don't realize there are over 2 million cat videos on YouTube that are viewed over 30 billion times for an average of 25,000 per video. So that's going to be our initial process to use some viral activity. Once we get to our first financial platform, which is 100 clients, and that's where we feel like we'll be at the fiscal space for us to be engaged social media ads in a different way. After that, we're going to be able to have 500 clients. We should be able to farm that part out. One of the things that we found is we engaged potential users. So through focus groups, through a survey where we had 22 respondents, and also just by getting out and conversating with people, we talked to over 42 people, and what we realized was that virtually every single person that we talked about listed dialing into a conference call as one of their first 2 largest problems that they have with dealing with conference calls. And Conference Meow can help solve that. This is our pricing structure. You can also see a little bit more of this on our website, which is actually live right now, conferencemeow.com. I encourage you to go on there and check it out. But we have the different packages. So we have our freemium package, which will allow people to get on for up to 300 minutes to start the trial. This is specifically for those who are generally going to be less than 5 hours a month on conference calls. Obviously, as you can see, it will go up for heavy users who are using the service often. Now, a lot of people asked us about what our growth pattern is. So, as you can see, it's positively insane. First, we're going to be bootstrapped with Twilio, which is what we're doing right now. In 6 months, we will replace that by creating our own platform as well as a mobile app that will allow us to bring down the price and be more targeted for the people that we're looking at. And later, we will be able to add the enterprise application that would allow you to be able to use it within a business to make sure that everyone in your business is on time for every meeting, cutting out the millions of dollars and lost productivity from people having ineffective meetings. But most importantly, we want to show you how it works. So, Conference Meow is actually live right now. So we're going to give you just a little bit of preview of what this does before our time is up. Thank you. So as you see, our judges, you'll be calling right now by Conference Meow. You guys are plugged in. So you will actually be contacted right now, and that's how easy it is. So, invest in us, because we're to catch me out.
3 minutes of questioning.
There you go.
How's it going to make money?
I'll take this. All right, so there's a couple different ways that it makes money. So in this particular piece of it, in our freemium package, there will be ads, right? So in the first piece of it, it will call you 30 seconds earlier than it would typically call. Play an ad that will be supported at the end by sending a text that will also show the sponsor. You can obviously level up to these particular packages where our per minute cost is going to allow us to create revenue immediately. Obviously, once we create our own platform and a dashboard where we won't have to use a third-party vendor, that will cut down our costs quite a bit, which will allow us to be able to bring down the point of entry and actually get us to revenue even faster.
Are there any existing products like this that you have to worry about patent infringement, et cetera?
No, we couldn't find any products like that. I mean, there's clearly some tools that you can use, like your iPhone and your Android will sometimes get the number correctly if it's in your calendar, but our experience is that the majority of the time it does not.
2 quick questions. First, how do you protect it? I mean, it seems clever, but so I do a lot of conference calls, and you know, you got your dial-in number, then you have, you know, whichever. I don't even know what the hell the next number is, but there's always a number. And if you are the leader, if you're the leader, there's a third number you got.
PIN number.
So will this allow you to be the leader?
Yes. Yes, it'll automatically type in all of those numbers based on the conference invite.
So how do you protect it?
Well, you know, as you know, software patents nowadays are extremely difficult and very contentious. So at this point, we would just go more for kind of trade secrets, but obviously it's pretty obvious what it does. So be first to market and get that market share.
And to add to that, one of the benefits of it is the people who are most likely to try to replicate this process are already conference call providers. The beautiful thing about this is because it's platform agnostic, it allows us to go over all of the different platforms, whereas most platforms are going to make it specifically for themselves. So you would have to be forced to use their service, whereas in our case, you can use whatever service you're most comfortable with.
Do you plan to market the individual person, or do you plan to market bigger companies?
To start with, it'll go right straight towards the individual, but then as we move into that third phase, we want to move to more enterprise sales and have the entire sales team be involved.
Can you talk about the unit economics? What's it cost you to make that phone call? And what do you anticipate that one ad bring in for revenue?
Yeah, so the call through the Twilio, which is why we want to replace it in phase 2, costs 2.2 cents for our cost, which is why these numbers work out. As for selling those ads, since we've got a very targeted market, you know, you have to listen to the ad because otherwise you would fail to join on your conference. We think we can get a premium for those ads. You know, we know right now places like Facebook.
Woo! All right, let's hear it for conference. Did you guys take the dongle for the clicker?
No, it's in the remote. There we go.
So who's been to Startup Weekend before?
Yeah.
Cool. What do you think? How we doing?
This is like the Super Bowl.
Nailing the tech. Yeah, just killing it.
All right, we're good.
Not so much.
Oh, wait.
Cool pitch deck, but
It's simple. It's
Try to
minimal.
slow it down.
Bingo.
woo! Other teams, be more ready than this. Let's make this transition a little quicker next time. Thank you. All right, now that I've paraded them in front of everybody, let's hear it for Nurture Us.
Did you know that 40% of Americans use online dating apps? We surveyed 39 people about their relationship obstacles, and the top 3 that we found were remembering to do little things, effort and energy, and communication. So if we're using technology to bring people together, why not use technology to keep people together? Introducing Nurture Us.
So Nurture Us is going to help couples to be more mindful about growing their relationship. But how are we going to do that? Well, first, we are going to help couples to remember to do the little things. Little things that often slip our minds, but they mean so much in a relationship. I'm sorry, I realize I'm still holding this. These things slip our minds, but they mean so much in a relationship. Things like maybe remembering to give your partner a 10-second hug today. Second, we're going to give you specific ideas on things that you can do. But the best part about this is that we're going to make it effortless. So you can book an entire Saturday evening or have flowers and cheeseburgers sent to the office with just the click of a button. Third, we're going to help couples be more aware of each other's needs. I mean, let's face it, we may love each other a whole lot, but we can't read each other's minds. Nurture Us is going to continually learn more and more about the both of you and provide specific suggestions on things that you can do to keep the spark alive in your relationship.
So who's already doing this? Here's a list of the competitors that we found in the space. And here's a list of the downloads that they have. There's no single dominant competitor that we were able to find. And of the competitors that we did find, none of them they were all focused on idea discovery and not delivering and pushing highly relevant ideas to couples for ways that they can improve their relationship. So how do we plan on making money? Our first revenue channel is subscriptions. We plan on charging $5 a month to provide a premium feature that gives couples a non-threatening way of communicating their unmet needs to their partner. An example would be if a wife tells us that her husband isn't doing enough around the house, in maybe a week, we'd send in a reminder to do the dishes. The second avenue would be sales. we want to provide a one-stop shop for curated experiences for our customers. We also want to make it as easy as possible to purchase gifts within the application. Go to market. Initially, we plan on launching in Sioux Falls and then expanding one metro area at a time. We plan on advertising using online. We plan on using a combination of online advertising and influencer marketing. And we also plan on showing up at events like wedding expos. A relationship lasts a lifetime. Grow it with Nurture Us. And now for a demo. All right, so when someone finds us online, okay, they'll go to our website, learn a little bit more about us, and then sign up. All right, so they're going to tell us a little bit about themselves, tell us a little bit about their partner. Their partner will get an email so that they can tell us some details as well. And then they'll answer a series of questions. And those questions will help us deliver the highly curated experiences that can make their relationship better. And that's it. Nurture Us.
Nice job, everyone. However, it kind of makes me sad that the world has come to this point where we need an app to communicate with our +1. My question for you is, you talked about having providers in your app, like the cheeseburger provider. Do you have a sponsorship type opportunity with vendors particular to your business?
We plan on pursuing relationships to possibly do some kind of an exchange of value to make money from that. Yeah, and then for the gifts, we're talking about, you can use things like FTD. They have a reseller channel. Amazon has a reseller channel. There's lots of providers that have reseller channels that would make it really easy to make money at first. Eventually, when you have enough customers, then you can have a staff who would pursue those relationships and make money, because you get higher margins if you're selling directly, right? But it takes people to be able to pursue those relationships.
So did all of you guys read the 5 love languages?
I can give that to you.
Because this, in my mind, this is what this is a spin-off of, and your questions need to be focused around that, because we all assume everybody has the same love language we have. That may not be true. But yeah, the obvious way you're going to make money would be to link this to companies that can sell their products through you.
Yep. Yeah. So one example was, hot air balloon company, like a hot air balloon ride. They probably have a somewhat difficult time finding people. You could have a little thing going there.
And it's not popular in February, right?
Yeah. So, or on Tuesday.
I've got 2 questions.
Go ahead.
How many of you have been married more than 10 years?
How about just a little?
Okay, the other question is, have you thought about it, it's always from a couple's angle. Have you thought about it from a singles angle, a guy getting tips?
So to start out with, we decided to go from the couple's angle because it's less threatening. We want to help you as a couple go through your journey together. If we say it's just about the guy or just about the girl and we send you a notification, then it's like, oh, so you got me roses because your app told you to. The app is something you guys do together to be better for each other. Kind of get how I'm saying that?
I get it. And that way there could be more potential money made with for example, the wife interacting with the application and the husband interacting with the application.
You don't have to hide it. If I'm doing it by myself, I might not want my wife to know that I have this app that's telling me to do good things for her. If I go to her and I say, hey, let's be better together. We talked to a marriage counselor, and she said she would love to have seen this app be used by a bunch of people earlier on in the process, because by the time they get to her, things have been failing for 7 years. So people have been growing apart for 7 years by the time they get there, and we talked to a lot of people, and it was like, what? about 70% said they were interested in something like this at a high or a very high level.
It's the technicality.
All right. Let's hear it for Has Matters.
We are Has Matters. My name is Jeremy Sopko. I'm a truck driver, and this is my story. I'm a family man who spends his days and sometimes weeks on the road to support my family. Driving is my life, and sometimes I'm asked to take a little more risk for a little bit more money to help make ends meet. That risk and opportunity comes from the form of hauling hazardous materials, otherwise known as hazmat. My job is to ensure that all hazardous materials are transported in compliance with regulations at all times. Compliance comes from the form of appropriately placing placards like these for all the on the truck in the right space. For all the obvious risks that comes with transporting hazardous materials, what bothers me the most is the nagging fear that I'm not in compliance with the regulations, that I will be inspected, fined, and placed out of service. This is my story, and this is the story of 3.5 million other truck drivers on the road today. Sean's here to share a little bit more about the scope of the problem.
Thanks, Jeremy. So let's talk about the size of the problem. Every day, more than 1 million loads of hazardous material go across the United States. Of those loads, 94% of them are done by truck. So what exactly is a hazardous material? Over 3,700 items are categorized as a hazardous material. But a trucker has to remember that by looking through a federal regulation manual that has over 400 pages. So as a trucker, as Jeremy, how do I know whether or not I'm meeting those regulations? But the problem only gets worse. There's state and local requirements. That's just the federal level at 400 pages. As I go across state borders, there's new rules, new regulations. And sometimes even at the private level, there's a whole nother layer. This is for real. Every year, over 40,000 inspections are done. More than 40,000 drivers are pulled over. But what happens when I get pulled over? Well, last year there was over 41,000 violations. If I get pulled over and inspected, I'm gonna have a violation. Well, why is that a problem? The violation comes with fees, and it also comes with out of service. If I'm out of service, everybody loses. The truckers have spoken. In a recent survey of more than 1,500 people from within the trucking industry, as part of their top 10 problems within the industry, they said there's a compounding effect between too many regulations. It places a burden on the industry and on the truckers. But in addition, that burden means that truckers are leaving the industry. They have a turnover rate that exceeds 75%. Most of them don't even make it 3 months. And part of that is because of these burdens. So we went out and talked to some truckers. The truckers we talked to who actually move hazmat material said that this is a problem and they would pay for some type of solution. Those who don't move hazmat material said it's just not worth it. There's too much of a burden and too much of a problem associated with this material that they don't care that they can make extra money. It's not worth it. Companies also recognize this as a problem. Some of them have invested in solutions. As an example, UPS has its own proprietary solution because they recognize this as a big enough problem for their drivers. So here's our solution. Has Matters is an application that runs on any iPhone or Android. The application, as you will see here, is really easy to use. It shows them what materials they are picking. It's got a type ahead function, so it's really easy.
But as you'll also see, it shows where there's conflicts. Conflicts between the materials, and most importantly then it tells them about those materials and which one of these placards I should put on the side of my truck. What does that really mean though for them at the end of the day? This easy to use application means that I'm confident and have peace of mind when I'm moving hazardous material. That means that I'm not going to be out of service. That means I'm going to be generating more revenue for me and my company. As compared to other people who have these solutions, our user interface is much easier to use. We also remember what's on your truck. Other ones, you put everything in, as soon as you move off, it's all gone. I have to recreate my load again. I can't change what's on my load. We keep that information. So what's our business model? We're going out at $5 per user per month. This price point is competitive with other applications targeted at truckers. Which truckers are we going after? The owner-operators. There's 350,000 owner-operators. These are your small independents. So out of the 3.5 million, we think these are the folks who will be most interested by this application because they're most impacted by fines and out of service. So how are we going to get to them? This is a very active community. They're on Facebook, they're in social media, we're going to go there first. But then we're going to go to the truck stops, advertise there, and advertise in their publications that they read. Lastly, the application can be extended. There's many other uses of this, hooking to GPS systems, hooking to logging devices, and moving into digital signage. Where Has matters because truckers matter. Thank you.
Okay, you guys said you talked to truckers. How many did you talk to and how many said they would pay $5 a month?
Well, we started with our own trucker, right, who has a good sense for the market because he's been a part of it for so long. From there, we talked to a couple different people by phone. A trucker was actually on the road at the time, as well as a regional manager. And then we also went around to a couple of local truck stops and talked to around 10 people in total. So we talked to both those that haul hazmat and those that don't, and found that the truckers themselves, they were interested in a solution that was easy, that could keep track of all the things that they wanted. There was some hesitancy to spend a lot of money on it, but that's based on an experience where the apps were just unuseful. And some of them were even actually, one of them said that he had been looking at apps that were quite a bit more expensive, maybe $30 a month. So he was interested in an app that was maybe even $10 a month. Another one also expressed an interest in paying for an app that would take care of their needs.
Have you done an assessment on the cost to keep up with those regulations, both at a federal and state perspective? And then potentially what liability do you have if those things change and that the app isn't updated?
So at this point, we're looking at primarily the federal regulations. To get to the level of state or even some of the private regulations just wasn't in our scope because it gets so great. Our local trucker has basically told us that the federal regulations, and from what we can gather, don't change that often. So that 400-page book, it doesn't change that frequently. So yes, there would be a cost associated with keeping up with that, but we think that's pretty minimal because it appears this doesn't change that often.
You said that UPS has already started to solve this problem or has solved the problem. Why isn't FedEx seeing the same value?
I'll be honest, that's a good question. I don't know. FedEx, one of the things we did find about FedEx, hazard materials seem to be more of an issue for them over the air as opposed to truck. We found that they actually have had fines for air freight as opposed to truck. So that would be my best guess, but I don't know.
Is this, I mean, how much time does this really save somebody? If somebody, can't you just like look it up in the index in the book, find the page and say, this is the placard I need? Is this really a problem for people? Like, what are the fines that people, they have every year? What's so hard about the book, and like, is this really a problem?
What I can tell you about the book is 400 pages, and it's.
But you're not reading the whole thing, are you?
The thing is it doesn't tell you where that page is. So you do have to go through and search through, and you have to verify that the legal name and description are right, the UN number is right, that there's a pre-trip function on this.
All right, we're at the halfway point of our pitches. So let's not let the energy drop on these standing ovations.
Hi, I'm Eric Du. I've been working on this project with Ben, Jack, and Jorge over the weekend, all based off this experience I had flying back in from California. And when I went out and I met up with some friends, hanging out with them, seeing them again, we all pulled out our phones because we wanted to go out to eat. We're all going through a bunch of different places to go, and we can't pick a place. We can't decide on a place we want to go. So we finally, after debating, get in our car, drive downtown, find a place to park, get to the restaurant. We're hit with a 45-minute wait list after we've already spent 45 minutes trying to pick a place to go. So we repeat the same cycle. We open our phones, try and find a new place, and hope that the wait list isn't too long. And I want to know, by show of hands, how many people has this exact same thing happen to?
Okay, so all of us have had this experience, and we wanted to know, has everybody else experienced the same thing? So we sent 2 introverts downtown Sioux Falls to talk to people. It was cruel. It's not funny. We saw people, and we were like, I don't think they want to talk. Yeah, no, they don't want to talk. But we were dedicated, so we had some great conversations and learned a lot about what people were going through on the streets every day. There was a concert going on, so it was super busy. People were already looking for a place to eat. It was 5 o'clock, and they were frustrated. So we talked to people, and we asked them, would you, if we had an app that would tell you about restaurants close by that were not busy, would you be interested in using it? And they were like, can we use it now? And yes, I would definitely be interested. So out of 40 people that we talked to, 37 said yes, we would definitely be users. So now we then said yes, let's go ahead.
And these are the current apps that they've been using, which what caused the frustration in the first place, which came to our ideal of the birth of app third party, making the most of every night. First thing I found was, what's the best place to go to, a busy place or a slow place? And so for people who wants to party and hang out with more people, like bars and stuff, they want to go to a more interactive place, a more busy place to go to. And people who want to go in quickly, sit down and eat food, they want to go to a less busy place. Next we have is location. So right where they are nearby, local restaurants. They'll get, or we'll help local restaurants by offering the people's interests of like hamburger or Italian restaurants. And we are currently made like a plan with Eventus to, or Eventus is a app that gathers information around the web about events that are currently going on. And so they'll be up to speak later, but we have created a partnership with them to help figure and help people figure out.
So we're starting off in 5 cities, and the way we picked these cities is we wanted a diverse in terms of the regions in the United States, as well as population density. And so since we're aggregating all this data from Google's APIs, we can start off in any city we like and expand at a rate we feel comfortable with. And so getting our first users, we're gonna do this by generating content, talking about the best bars and restaurants in those different areas, repurposing that into videos, slide shares, podcasts, answering questions on Quora to get as much organic traffic to our site as possible. We're also can, once we start making capital, get paid advertisements on Google AdWords, intercepting traffic from people searching for bars and restaurants near them, and targeting Facebook ads and showing them brands in those areas that they're familiar with. To support ourselves, by selling sponsored locations, letting people jump the list and show themselves to similar users using the app, as well as sponsoring the emails we send out when we create content, and getting blogs written about these different businesses, as well as probably the most valuable part, the user behavior data, knowing why, where, and when people are going out. So moving forward, we want to take this technology and move into all of these different verticals, not just coffee shops, restaurants, and bars, but also nail salons, grocery stores, movie theaters, anywhere that there's a wait list that becomes frustrating and you want to avoid. So who's ready to party? Thank you.
How can you ensure the accuracy of a wait time? You're putting a lot of trust in individual businesses to report what's actually true.
Yeah, so all of this data, actually, the wait time data comes from Google, who's already been doing this and really perfect. I mean, it's Google. They have really good data on all of this. So if you search businesses now, you can see a bar graph of their average peak times per day, as well as live, if it's above average or below average. And we can use that to tailor the results based on if a bar is really popular right now or it's slower. Same with a restaurant and coffee shops as well.
Can you just tell us that Google is an existing solution that wasn't serving people's needs?
So Google Maps, you're going through all the maps, but you have to look at all of the different ones, and just like if you were to call them and get the wait time, but nobody does that. Same with looking at the different wait times. It's an aggregator of all of that, so you know what's busy and what's not in real data, in real time.
So is the Google data, is that an average over weeks and months, or is it like, what is it right now?
It's both. It has the average and the live if it's above or below the average.
We carry our phones in and it goes from there.
Are you guys scraping the data, and is that okay with Google's terms of service, or are you going to get rate limited like I do every day?
So Google has the API for this. So we're using Google's API.
So have you looked at other companies like OpenTable that does this, and how do they make money? And
yeah, so
OpenTable.
So OpenTable making reservations is probably the closest thing we could find that exists, but it's tailored towards making a reservation at a place. Whereas we want to take this technology and move into all of those different industries so that you can avoid wait times in general and at real time. You can just go out.
But what's the average sponsorship cost for OpenTable? What does a restaurant pay OpenTable?
Yeah, so I'm not sure on the data behind what is paid for open data, and obviously what we would charge businesses would be based on the value we could provide to them. So based on how much traffic.
So what are you going to charge businesses?
So again, it depends on how many users we have. So hopefully, once we know, probably do some testing without having them pay us. We can see if somebody were to pay us, it would work, and what that's worth to them to get people in there at the slower times.
Got any idea what that number is? $25? $200?
It could be even based on probably a percentage based on how many people are clicking, and then do per how many conversions they're making in that, and whether or not they're actually going to that destination.
What's your favorite restaurant in town?
Oh man, I would have to say Giliberto's by far.
Woo! All right, let's hear it.
time.
notes set up. Gotta do it. I live by the notes. Okay, clicker work. Boom. All right, everybody. Let's hear it. 15.
My husband and I were fortunate enough to grow up with financial nuggets of information that our parents provided for us, which allowed us to pay off over $90,000 of debt. As a new mom, thank you, it is awesome, yes. As a new mom, one of my goals is to set my daughter up to be financially successful. This brings us to Fundamentals, which is an app that can bring fun into funds and the fundamentals, nice play on words, into learning skills as well as financial skills. Such as financial literacy, financial independence, problem solving, and even bringing families closer together by bridging that communication gap. Some of you might be asking, why is this important? Well, we found that on average, one household in the United States alone has an average of $150,000 of debt. The dollar is quickly turning into an abstract idea. You're losing sight of that physicality of it. So you can't really wait until college to teach these young people that are coming into our world about finances, because by then they're already $50,000 or more in debt, and they're having a hard time prioritizing finances as well as how to manage their student loans. We asked 87 people, if you could tell your younger self something about money, what would it be? We found that there was a common ground of concern when it came to finances. One message that stood out to us is that I wish I had the resources available to me to learn money management. Here are some of the common themes we found in our study. Financial education being the most mentioned, to saving, to investing, to instant gratification, and even finding a job. All of this confirming that there is a need for a financial tool to reach our youth. Parents think they're knowledgeable enough to teach their own children about finances. However, that being said, we've learned that 63% are financially illiterate. So you can't even pass a basic financial test. As a whole, we're marketing to parents, but our end user is the youth between the ages of 13 and 18, where habits really start to take shape. So here are some of the avenues we'd like to utilize, such as schools, teachers and mentors, and nonprofits like the Junior Achievement Program, as well as banks. And yeah, so that will bring you to our demo, which will be Michael.
So our web app will be the future you for the future you. With it, parents will be able to track their students' progress with financial games, as well as goals they've set for themselves, such as a prom dress or a new video game. Parents can set up rewards that are money-based and also more event-based, like a board game night. Local businesses can market to the youth interested in them and offer free gift cards that parents can reward their children with, such as Mike and Stranger Things. And the kids can use the app to collect badges, compete with friends on top scores, and track their goals. And lastly, the financial games themselves are engaging and challenging. So as we bring up the game, it'll be a money-based game where you say, how much do you save? And that's about it. We can let it go for a second as it passes.
We've learned that most of our competition is based on the adult market with functionality focused on investment. There are fewer apps focused on children. Our app has the competitive edge by engaging teenage users in finance-related fun. Considering opportunities for growth and the market size for the entire U.S., we looked at a hypothetical subscription model of $60 per year per family. We used the same subscription metrics to look at the possible market size for South Dakota. With 100,000 households with children under the age of 18, South Dakota has a market size of about $6 billion per year. We have identified additional revenue streams such as in-app purchases. Examples might include stickers, patches, and prepaid cards. And with this app, we would have the opportunity to collect financial data points on a demographic that hasn't been captured to the same extent as others. This age group isn't on Facebook and Instagram like other users. By capturing that data, we can target specific advertisers. In closing, we've identified that we have a big problem, a huge market, and limited existing solutions, which is why we feel that Fundamentals is a necessary tool to plant the seed for the future and empower our youth to develop healthy financial habits. Thank you. Thank you. This was a lot of fun.
What are your customer acquisition strategies? What are you going to market it?
I think Carly talked about this a little bit. We were looking at educational avenues, and then also through banks, and then some of the nonprofit sectors. And we were hoping to do that. That's how we capture it.
Well, and another idea too, we had learned that Instagram and Snapchat are the primary sources of social media for this age group that, again, hasn't really been targeted because Facebook can't really monitor that age group yet. So it would be cool how Instagram has this concept of posting, spotlighting one person on their page. So if we could find youth around that age group that can take over the Instagram page and share how they're successful in their own finances.
Quick question. Have you modeled what changes have taken place in the demographics with respect to savings rates, financial, you talk about financial literacy, but how has that changed in the last generation or 2 generations?
That is an excellent question. I'm not sure that we...
I don't know that we have specific data, but in talking to customers and stuff, we recognize that our generation, a lot of the financial literacy class coursework that was previously in high school started to drop out around our time. So like we used to learn how to balance a checkbook. I still don't know how to change a tire. And we used to have home ec classes, and a lot of that stuff has fallen out of educational.
Who's your customer? Is it the child or the parent?
Primarily, it is the parent. The user is going to be the child, but that would open that avenue for those support systems for the child. So the after-school programs, the educational programs here in Sioux Falls, for instance, Boys and Girls Club, Big Brother, Big Sister. Maybe if there is a mentoring aspect where some of those mentor opportunities are to help people become independent, and with that independence comes that financial responsibility.
Did you survey parents on whether they would like this app and pay $60 a year?
We didn't. We talked to parents. We didn't ask them specific pricing, but we did ask them if this was a need, and we found across the board it was. We had one person who said that they wouldn't change how they learn about finance.
They would rather spend more money on traveling and then be a boring person later on in life. So out of all of the people we questioned, there's one person that did that. And even to point on the pricing, the $60 per year, obviously that's something that can be adjusted and changed. But we did learn that some of the people that I had asked would be willing to pay at least $10 a month for something like this if it was something that could benefit their child in the future.
What do you think your penetration is, though? I mean, you quoted, what, 100,000 families, and you said $6 million. That's 100% penetration in the market.
Yes, that is a hypothetical where we could gain.
That's a real hypothetical.
Yes,
right?
wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
I'm assuming probably, low balling, probably 1% to 0.5%.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Woo! Wait!
Exciting time here. Anchor pitch of the night, our last group. Let's hear it for Aventis.
All right, thank you everybody for the opportunity to present this exciting idea. My name is Eric Sanchez, co-founder and developer of Adventist, along with Malipo, Menno, Shane, and Jevin. So we want to help the user reinvent their experience through the Adventist platform. But first, let's meet Jenny Rocket. She's a jet setter looking to go from Sioux Falls to Denver to plan her events for that trip. So like most people, she utilizes a variety of social media platforms to search and discover events. But like 76% of our respondents, they find it difficult to find events through just one or more social media platforms. So we are an event aggregator, takes data from all of these and incorporates them into one, place called Adventist. So we are a platform, a website, and an app. So here we have our application that Menno built. This is real time. So we are searching for events in Denver, mousing over, showing data about each event. And then when the average user, like Jenny Rocket, pulls up her interface here, she doesn't know exactly what she wants to do, but she can search for the location and the date. So these are all the events that show up in Denver, but she decides she wants to do live music. That's what she's interested in. So we start removing all of the data from events that she doesn't want to do. Now she wants to find out a little more about these events. So she mouses over, okay, let's see, we've got Billy Strings, Whiskey Shivers. All right, let's move that over to my working itinerary here. Let's find a couple more maybe in the city center so I don't have to take an Uber so far. I got Aaron West, yeah. I like country music. And then maybe something to do after nearby. All right, Kishibashi. All right, so now that I have my working itinerary, I'm going to move this over into the in-app messaging feature so that I can discuss my plans with my friends. So we got here some messages from my friends. Oh yeah, we're going to do this together. And we can utilize our friends at after parties so they can make a more informed decision. These parties are popping off, so they want to go to there. So we have ways to buy tickets and share on social media. Now Jenny Rocket has shared her itinerary on Facebook. She's making a splash. It looks like we got 141 people already talking about this. Oh, and it looks like we're already trending on Wired.com. That's fun. So to look at our marketing strategies and user acquisition, we want to begin with the market of Denver, Colorado. It's a major metropolitan area with a rich culture in the suburbs as well. Huge influx to tourism. And the whole area has a rich, just the place that we want it to be. All right, so our user acquisition is enhanced by hotel partnerships. A lot of people are traveling in, they stop by these hotels, maybe not all of them have a concierge service, we're going to up that and give them little cards. We have a QR code, drives business to us, helps them have a richer experience during their stay at that hotel. Also partnering with venues and organizations, we can drive business directly by increasing users, increasing viewers, increasing just their business in general. So our revenue streams. First we have the transaction fee model by directly driving ticket sales for these venues and organizations. Next we have the subscription fee model. Maybe most people are staying in city center in Denver, but Lakewood's not getting all the love. So we want to maybe take these small markets, they pay a yearly subscription, they can have unlimited advertising on Adventist, so that we can drive people from the city center out to these smaller suburbs. Mitchell, South Dakota has a pumpkin festival, but nobody from Sioux Falls is going. Let's get there through Adventist. We want our users to become an Adventist and reinvent their experience. Next, we have the threshold fee model. Maybe we have a client that's not really interested in buying in all that much. Okay, we can say if they're cross-promoting, we say if we can drive 300 new users or 300 new tickets to your event, then we get paid. Otherwise, we'll take all the risk. And finally, we have sponsored content. Different organizations and venues want to put their content relevant, accurate on top, flashy, eye-catching. We can do that too. All right, so we're not going to be successful unless our users have a good experience. So we have a low barrier to entry. Our platform, our application, it's really simple. You don't have to sign up for anything. You can just use it like any other search service. We can connect to Facebook to find out more demographics about our users, or they can create a profile so they can get recommended content. And so the in-app messaging helps retain users more than just acquiring them. And then if they want to put in a credit card, make it even easier for one-click purchasing. So of the 30 people we surveyed across the country today using social media, we found that 92% said yes to using social media to find events when traveling. And then here's events, so that was local, here's them traveling, so we have overwhelming success about people using these platforms already. But each one of them has a downfall, we're aggregating them, mitigating their downfalls into one. And then finally, would you use a search engine to pull events from across multiple platforms? 89% said yes. So again, we want to help the user reinvent their experience and become an Adventist. So we surveyed 30 people, asked them about 12 questions surrounding whether they like to use different social media platforms, downfalls, and like you said, 89% said they'd be interested in using a platform agnostic service that pulls event data from all of the popular platforms already.
Face to face, we talked about a couple of people here, some of the mentors as well. Got a good amount of enthusiasm. So
Facebook as an aggregator, you're pulling information from a number of sources that can change over time. Have you thought about that?
I mean, the idea behind an event is events are of an ephemeral nature anyway. So you want to talk to their APIs, pull in these events, cache it, and then when it's expired or it's already happened, forget about it, pull in new events.
So some of the places you listed, like Facebook specifically, they don't have like a master events API that you can access. So what's your strategy to scrape events that aren't, listed in an organization that has a public API?
Actually, Facebook does have the Graph API, which thankfully the open source community has provided us with a number of workarounds, so we can easily pull events from their Graph API and get all the metadata, including location, start times, all that kind of stuff. In terms of locations, as a stretch goal, we do want to look into scraping Twitter feeds, Facebook feeds, organizations that may not be creating an event as such, and analyze some of their messaging for archiving these events.
Customer acquisition strategy.
Yeah, so start with some traditional marketing, social media, organic, pushing our events, and then partnering with hotels and starting with the model market, so that the hotels have guests that have a richer experience and they have the QR code, so we can find out who's staying there, where they're going after that, and do a little data mining there, and then partnering with the venues and organizations that already exist there that want more traffic.
What's the anticipated build-out time to make this app a reality?
So the anticipated build-out time, we briefly discussed 6 months. If it was just us 5, it would be a lot of work for 6 months. But then we want to do, maybe over 5 years, look into tapping into the live market. So this is events that are happening in the future. People want to know about what events are happening right now. There's no one aggregating live streaming events. Twitch, Facebook Live, online streaming, online gaming. We would be in a 24-hour market. Things that are happening in the future, things that are happening now.
Give it up.
I just gave 18 standing ovations, by the way.
We meant every one of them.
Yeah.
All right, nice work, everybody. Let's give these guys not a standing ovation so Matt doesn't cramp up here. Let's give all these teams an awesome round of applause. All right, so I am going to go away with the judges and we're going to talk about these awesome ideas. Everyone in here, as you leave, to go get some food and some drinks. Please wait for us to go so that you can't bribe these guys on the way out. That you grab a Post-it note from Wendy and I think Christina. They will get you set up with a Post-it note, and then there's a whiteboard over there with all the team names on it. And use your one vote to pick your favorite pitch of the night. It could be your team or another team. I don't care. But that'll pick the people's choice. Thank you.